Hello, Zach.
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Oh, how are you, man?
One step at a time. We're all getting back to this new normal. Music is live
Uh,
again. Man, I can't wait to even see more.
I know it's crazy. Way overdue for it to come back to some kind of normalcy.
Did you have to recondition yourself? Because I mean, being out of the circle there for a while. I mean, it's like wow, this is what it's going to be about.
Uh, I think I reconditioned myself more for being holed up and trying to record stuff and not being on out and playing gigs. I mean, jumping back into playing live, it's just like, oh yeah, no, I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a gig in 2 weeks. It's the first one in a couple of months, and it's just like I can't get here soon enough.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have a different respect for those that do come to the performances because I mean now it's like I respect them more, and I love looking direct into their eyes where before you looked at the entire crowd.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. Right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
The new song, Just Like Anyone. How did you piece this one together? Was it pieces parts or was it one where you guys all got together in the studio?
Actually, it was a wild hair. I had actually I recorded a drum track.
What?
Played along with the original song that was done by Soul Asylum, and I just got a wild hair and decided I was going to record it. So I recorded it. I played all the parts. I did all the vocals and all that stuff, and then sent it to Jody and said, "What do you think?" And she was like, "Oh, I love it. You should release it." So I actually then got serious about it and mixed it really well and got it mastered and there it is.
Don't you love those moments when you do the project by yourself? Because it's like, to me, it's like writing a book. You go in there and each little instrument is a character in your story.
Yeah, it's a chapter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I love it. And it's, I don't know. It was really almost accidental. I've got another single that I'm going to put out in the next couple of months, but it felt like it would be good to do in the interim. And I always thought that the song had such a good message, and the energy behind it is really cool. So yeah, I did it for the heck of it.
So when was the last time that you personally remember that the guitar was just as much as important as the hook of the song? I mean, because the way that the song goes, you're attracted to it. It keeps pulling you back into it.
I've always been a guitar guy. I mean, I love, especially love two guitar bands, because it's just the momentum, I guess, of the guitars carries the music, even if you have keyboards and other instrumentation rather. I've always been a big guitar guy. I just love, I love the sound of big guitars. I paid attention in the early 90s, and was fascinated, at that time when the Offspring would do a song and then find out that they've laid 20 identical guitar tracks. I'm like, well, I'm not going to lay 20 tracks, but the sound is just phenomenal if you do it right.
Yeah.
And I just love that aspect of it.
How do you keep yourself from being the perfectionist? Because I mean, when you're doing it by yourself, I mean, it's you with that imagination.
Yeah, it's hard, because I'm super critical, and the thing that I don't have patience for is, like, when I go and work with Skid Mills, who was my producer for the EP that I did, we would record these vocal tracks over and over and over and over and over again. And when I do it myself, I'm not that patient. So I really try to nail the part, and I'll do it 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times, but I won't do it like 18 times or whatever. Yeah. So it really is hard not to be a perfectionist. And then I second guess myself to the point that, I'll remix the song like 15, 20 times, or, I'll just mess with it until finally I'm brain dead. And then I'll let somebody listen to it. And then if it sounds okay to them, then I'll finally say, okay, I'm done. I can't do anymore.
When do you take it to the car to listen to it? Because, that's the best studio on the planet.
Absolutely. Take it to the car, and then take it to the iPad. Then I take it to just a PA that I have in one of my venues just to hear everything. So I try to get a good spectrum.
Yeah, because
the irony is that it has to sound good
Yep.
coming out of a speaker on an iPhone too. So I listen to that too.
That's so interesting you say that, because I'll take this little JBL speaker that we take with us when we go canoeing down the river, and
Yeah.
it's got to sound good through that too, because if I'm going to get somebody on the water to listen to the music, it better sound good.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
So that's not living in the future. I mean, that's not living in the present. That's putting yourself so far out there in the future with high hopes of people even, discovering it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I figure that I've this is my fourth or fifth single, I think, in 3.5 years. So I think people are starting to know who I am, and they know the quality of the work and the types of songs that I like to do. So I guess I'm projecting that forward to make sure that those who do know me are not disappointed, and they would be like, oh man, that last song you did was awesome, but this one sucks. I don't want that to happen.
Do you ever go in there and look at Alexa's numbers or Siri's numbers and things like that to find out how many times people are reaching out for you?
Say that again. Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Do you ever go in there with Siri or Alexa and try to figure out how many times people are actually calling out your name? How are they discovering you?
Nah, not really. I mean,
Really?
I've got a tracker that keeps track of airplay that I use. It's called WARM, WRM, like World Airplay, or whatever it is, monitor. So I got a good idea of, where geographically the songs are being played, and then I've got like the artist Spotify thing that I can go in and see how many streams I'm getting. But really, not other than that, not really.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how radio and streaming have basically, kind of replaced each other in the way that, 1 million plays on the radio versus 1 million streams. I would be all charged up with the 1 million streams.
Yeah. 1 million streams will get you about $450.
Is that it?
Wow. So streaming is terrible.
Yep.
It's changed the entire music industry, not for the good, in my opinion. And I've had, my music's been streamed quite a bit, and literally in the 4 years or whatever that I've really been focusing on it, I've maybe made $1,000 from streaming, and that's a lot of streams. It's not like 20 million or anything, but at the same point in time, it's just changed dramatically. And I still get my little checks from ASCAP for airplay, and they're little, but they still pay you more for radio plays than they do for streaming.
God, I remember when I remember when I was at iHeart, and if we had music on the HD channel of the terrestrial radio, it was paying even more. And to me, it was like, okay, well that's where we got to go. We got to get on those HD channels. Yeah.
And actually, that's always been the HD channels have always been really interesting to me, because I think they're still underutilized quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's because big business has taken over radio and not broadcasters. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, it's just the whole face of radio has changed, unfortunately, and the music business has changed, and and there's good things and bad things. I mean, one of the good things, I think, is that the technology has gotten to the point where it's less expensive and less arduous for a lot of different folks who want to be artists to try to make music, and record music. The downside is I really do think there still is a use for a label or label services to get through the glut of folks that think they're artists but really are not.
Yep.
And their music may not be as good as they think it is. So there's still a need out there for folks who really understand business and who understand music promotion and who understand a really good, talented artist when they see it and can commit and invest in that artist to really bring them to full spectrum, if that makes sense.
It does, because you're starting to see it as well with the musicians, is because I was with the group Future X, and all they talked about was the song hook. It had to be a pop song. We needed to get people to listen to the instruments, and I'm going, oh my God, you're a Generation Z band, and you're talking about the stuff that really made classic rock and new rock, and it's like, okay, let's push this forward. Let's get more of this out here.
Yeah, you that's exactly right. I mean, and I still, to this day, I have artists who write these incredibly complex progressive rock songs, which I enjoy it because I'm a rock guy and I like that kind of stuff, but for the average listener, what they're listening to is something that emotionally and mentally hits them in the right manner, and they develop a love for that song, and they listen to it over and over again. And that's really what you want. The hooks are important. The guitar hooks are important. The vocal hooks are important. And the message in the song is important.
Yeah.
Good songwriting at the end of the day I think, it's what makes music timeless.
Did you ever play by the rules of radio in the way that if you didn't get us that song hook in 25 seconds, it was going into file 13?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I've always heard that, but I don't think I ever did it consciously.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always written songs in a fairly particular way, even though my musicians, my band guys will tell me that I write some messed up songs because they don't anticipate some of the changes. But yeah, I've never really thought about that. But I think it falls in line with that kind of by itself.
Music has come under attack. In fact, it was just recently in front of the government, and they're going to take a bigger look into it. The cost of concert tickets for people like Bruce Springsteen and stuff like that. Do you face things like that? And how is it as a musician? Do you find yourself, I support Springsteen making that kind of money, but at the same time, it's not him. It's the promoter.
Well, it's absolutely the promoter. I mean, let's just call it. It is the promoter.
Yeah.
And you've seen artists like the Foo Fighters who raise hell because the ticket prices are too high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a firm believer that I think that, it's okay for an artist and a promoter and everybody in the chain of music to make money, but it's not okay for them to just gouge people and make ridiculous money. I can tell you from, playing a lot of gigs in Memphis, which is a secondary market. It's not a major market. If you price the tickets too high, people won't come. I mean, they just, they're, sadly, a lot of people around here don't have that kind of expendable income. So it's harder for them to come out and see a good show. I would rather have, a lower ticket price and a bigger turnout.
Absolutely. Speaking of Memphis, did you see that Elvis movie yet?
I've not. Now, everybody has said it's fantastic.
Dude, it's the first time I've ever seen somebody play the part of Elvis in the way that Elvis was a human being. And I mean, when that curtain closes and he looks up at the camera, I mean, it's like, oh my God, he really did get tired. And it just echoes, what we do as musicians and music makers is that when the curtain goes down, people don't know what the next step is for us.
No, they don't. They don't. I'm gonna have to see it. I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah. How often do you get back to Charlotte?
I fly through there quite a bit going down to Florida, but I haven't had to get my feet on the ground in a long time, and I'm overdue. I've always loved Charlotte. My birthplace.
Absolutely. One of the things that listeners need to know about you is that you were part of the instant live recordings. Do you think a Frampton Comes Alive would work again these days to bring the concert experience, or are listeners smarter than that now?
So, in terms of an instant live product, or just in general?
Just, I mean, because I remember when Frampton Comes Alive came out. I mean, I had never experienced anything like that in my life.
It was on fire. I mean, obviously it made his career. Mm-hmm. I think a good live band, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are some phenomenal live bands out there, and a few relatively new bands. I mean, I went out and who was it I saw? It was Pretty Reckless. Dude, I was blown away. I mean, Taylor Momsen is just a badass, and her band is unbelievable. They put on a performance. And they might be relatively, well, I guess they're not really not that. They've been around for 10 years, but they're rock stars. Yeah. They know what they're doing. But bands like that and Shinedown, boy, let me tell you.
Oh, my God, Shinedown. Holy cow.
Phenomenal band. Yeah. And one of their guys, I'm friends with him, Zach Myers. He's from here in Memphis. I've known him for a long time. But they're phenomenal. Their shows are great. The musicianship's great. They tell stories. It's just that type of music, absolutely. And quite honestly, I've been trying to get instant live gigs with Shinedown now for 10 years.
Wow. Another big entertaining band, the Avett Brothers from Charlotte here. And so they just booked them for New Year's Eve. Dude, it's sold out. That fast. Boom. The hometown bands is coming home on New Year's Eve.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's cool.
Well,
I love it.
It's because of you guys that we have that connection, and I'll tell you, there's such a rock movement happening. It's just that radio hasn't found it yet. Either that, or they don't have the program directors and music directors in place to bring it forward. But man, when you sit there and you scan the going online and stuff, it's there. The new music is there, and you're a part of it.
Oh, it's coming back. I mean, there's no question that that rock is coming back solid, and guitar-oriented rock especially is coming back.
Yep. Yeah, go over and talk to Sam Ash or the Guitar Center. They'll tell you they can't keep those damn guitars in stock.
Exactly. I know, right?
So what's the website where people can go to find out more about you?
They can go to zachbairmusic.com, and that's ZACHBAIR music.com. They can also visit facebook.com/Zach Bair Official, ZACHBAIR Official. And it's the same thing for YouTube and same thing for Instagram. All the goodies.
I love it, man. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Zach. The door is always going to be open for you, dude.
I would love to, and you're just you're awesome, and it's really good to talk to you and revisit my Charlotte roots, so to speak.
Absolutely, man. Will you be brilliant today, okay?
Awesome, brother. Thanks so much, Errol.